This is episode 73 of the Out of the Minds podcast. I'm Sean Oakley.
And I'm Sam Cooper, and today we have a game between Separatists and Imperials.
Yes, as we told you last week, there was a good chance we would fly similar lists to last week to carry on testing, and mine is almost identical. In fact, I think mine literally might be identical, so Icon,
I think
Morna,
it
and
be.
Battler Yavin Vader.
Whereas I'm going for a slightly different twist. I'm trying to reinvigorate the good old days of Separatists where you could have basically a plasma swarm, essentially, with as many plasma torp carriers as you can and a swarm of droids to back it up. I'm also putting a gunship on the table because, you know what, I think we haven't seen them in a long time and they deserve to be seen.
I feel that's fair.
Yeah, so we have DGS 286 with plasma torpedoes, Kraken, seismic charges, and repulsor lift stabilizers. We have DBS 404, regular version, because now I actually have to say that, with plasma torps, seismic charges, and landing struts. A bombardment drone with DRK-1 probe droids, seismic charges, and landing struts. DFS 081 with energy shell charges and grappling struts, and 3 separatist drones with Discord missiles and grappling struts. And if you're wondering why so many seismic charges, you have guys who love sitting on rocks, it's because I have 3 points left over on every single one of those, and that's the only bomb they can take.
I mean, that's fair. Sometimes just nabbing that point of damage.
One damage is fine.
Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting. Like, obviously, it's very similar to last week's matchup. I feel like, ironically, despite the fact that you and I probably playtest against each other the most, a Separatist Swarm is actually really bad for me to playtest Decimators against, because you can't just yeet into them.
Yeah.
The Discords make the difference. But it's good practice, so yeah. We are playing Assault at the Satellite Array, which is interesting, because obviously you've got more ships, I've got 2 large bases. So, yeah, that's...
Yeah, but you know what? At least it's not salvage.
Exactly. So, objectives are... There are 2 near your board edge for a change.
Yeah, I was a little surprised at that.
My decision to put 1 there?
Yeah.
So, the reason behind that was I wanted to force you to either leave a ship there, leave the majority of your ships there, which means that they're down at your edge and they're not coming towards me. They're by the rocks, which, yes, you can jump on the rocks, but that does limit your choices then of where you can go. None of them are huge rocks, or you ignore it. And if you left 1 droid there, then either I chase him or I chase him away. So, yeah, that was the... I felt putting it nearer the middle just gives you another objective in the middle to contest and swarm around.
Yeah. I guess actually, yeah, if it's in the middle, it's very easy for me to just be like, okay, this droid is 5 straighting in that direction. He's got 1 health left. Who cares about him? If he gets there, he gets there.
Yeah. Whereas this way, you have to either commit to it with a droid, commit to it with your entire list, or ignore it. And, you know, even if I can't contest it, if I'm making you ignore 1 so we're scoring 2-2, realistically that's probably a win for me.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah. And then we've got 1 that you put on my side on the right hand side as I'm looking as close to the edge as you can get it, really.
Yeah, because I was trying to make a nice triangle of 3 that I could cluster around.
And then for me, 1 on the left hand side, because I kind of wanted a spread out. It's more towards my board edge, so that I was hoping to get 1 side reasonably clear of obstacles.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
And to come to obstacles, it's basically, there's the Moustache Rock just above, as I'm looking at it, the centre objective. And then the others, basically, along your board edge and down the right-hand side.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, rocks is interesting for me, because I normally go for grabbing a big rock and placing it near my objective to sit on, but I actually decided this time I actually want a small rock, because I found that the big rock actually doesn't give me any bigger benefit than the small rock does. It's very rare that I want to land 2 droids on a rock.
Yeah.
And yes, this did let you grab one of my rocks and place it in the middle of no man's land. But I was like, actually, I'd rather have more bigger rocks in the game somewhere than just sitting at home. Although, ironically, that didn't quite work out.
Well, see, what I found interesting was the fact that it allowed me to then pick 2 of your big rocks.
Yes. And so I was actually relatively okay with that. Because the thing with satellite array is it's hard to place big rocks somewhere that is completely irrelevant.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you can generally get one in like the bottom corner where there's no objective, but like even if you had placed it on the far left, that's not completely irrelevant. It's relatively irrelevant because at least it would impact where your big ships can go.
Yeah. So you were first player for setup. We do overlap at 3 and 4.
Yes, because I have a high initiative ship at I4.
So yeah, you set up your 3s first.
Yeah, so I'm going to experiment with improving podcast. I'm going to try and give my directions as if I am looking as if I'm looking at the YouTube video, because I've just realized a lot of the time I'm talking as if I'm the one playing, but as I'm watching this, it's probably easier for both of us if I say if Sean's right and my right is the same thing, so you can imagine you're looking at it from a top-down perspective from Sean's side. So to that, DFS 081 is deployed on basically my far left, directly behind the objective near me. So a 3 straight will land on a rock. My bombardment drone with probe droids and seismic charges gets placed next to the other one on the right, so he can just 3 straight onto a rock.
Just out of curiosity, actually, sorry to interrupt your setup. Talking about the way you're talking about it, would it be easier if I just recorded it at 90 degrees so that we're on a side each? Because then left and right become the same, don't they? Like if it's turning right.
Nah, I think like this is fine, and I can just explain it like that because I think this is easier for everyone involved.
Yeah, fair dues.
And then my separatist drones all get lined up on the right-hand side, ready to tear down the middle, and DGS 286 is directly behind them.
So at that point, I got to put Oicon down. And I am not jousting the 3 Discord missiles that are in front of me. So I set up just to the right of centre. It's just to the left of the rock that's 2 and 2 on the right-hand side, with my arcs side to side. And basically, my plan is bank turn 1, slowly move across the board edge towards the centre objective and past it if needs be. Trying to just, either you turn in straight away, which means you're probably banking, which means you're not all the exact right alignment, or you're coming straight down and, maybe I can just get a range 3 shot on a couple of droids without taking a lot back.
And then onto my 4, and I place him directly next to the bombardment drone, so he can 3 or 4 straight towards the center of the board, and that will let him just happy little bank in towards the center. Because DBS 404 and DGS have my plasmas, I want to make sure they are getting the shots first, because there are some juicy shielded targets against me.
Yeah. I set Morna up on the left-hand side, about 2 ship bases in, facing along the right. Her turret is facing forward backwards. Basically, I'm going to hard 2 left on the first turn, which will sit me just behind the objective on that side. And then I can 1 straight next turn, start collecting those points. Vader's set up to the left of that. He's going to gun down the left-hand edge because the only ship above that is 1 Vulture. Realistically, I think you turn away. But if you're heading towards the rest of your list, that means he can go up to that top objective, claim some points, and then come in. He's got the maneuverability with afterburners to get through the rocks and hopefully start initiative killing stuff.
Makes sense.
Right, so let's get into it. We roll off and I am first player.
And everyone begins to move. So let's go.
So yeah, you've done your straight manoeuvres. I've done exactly what I said I was going to. Vader actually barrel rolls after his 5 straight, just to bring him a little bit further up, half a ship base, and a little bit closer as well.
Yeah. So DFS did a 1 hard to the right because I could see the writing on the wall. Mourner's there, Vader's there. If I want DFS to live more than 2 turns, we can just like if you had let me get this objective, I'd have taken it. But it doesn't look like you're going to let me have it for free. So time to go.
Yeah.
Then I check for Kraken, and basically the two hyenas and CGS keep a calculate for the next turn.
Yeah. I whack some force on the table, then decide I don't like it stacking. We roll off, and I am first player again.
Yeah. So in the end of the last turn, I launched my first probe droid, Mr. Steve, out of the bombardment drone. And first things first in the system phase, I 3-bank it towards the dead center of the board, trying to catch as many of Sean's ships in its bubble as possible.
Yeah, I think it's just something I have to accept when it comes to them.
I've noticed that if you 3 straight or 4 straight towards the center, it's very hard for your opponent to have all of their ships not in range of the probe droid, and if they do, then they're probably not claiming any objectives.
Yeah. So I do, I think, 3 straights with Oicon. Basically, I'm looking next turn to swing in with a hard turn to the right and start shooting.
Yep, pretty much.
I reinforce to the rear because I think a lot of your ships coming down are likely to be in that back arc. It'll be hard for you to get into that center, into the front arc.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so, in something that I think Sean probably wasn't expecting, my bombardment drone comes off the rock and leaves an objective behind.
I was not expecting that, I will freely admit. So,
I have solid reasoning for this, but we'll get to it after everything's moved and we run through all the moves.
So Morna does a 1 straight. She reinforces to the rear because my plan is she's going to flip a charge, flip it to the front, 1 bank to the right, start facing off at your ships, and hopefully try and get into the middle where she can contest 2 objectives.
I mean, that makes sense. And we'll just run through all of my guys. So basically, one of the Separatist drones did a 2-bank onto a rock that was just in between the center. The other 2 did a 5 and 4 straight right down the edge to claim that the far right objective. DGS did a 2-bank behind the Separatist drone, so he's just sat behind a rock. I declined to flip struts. The bombardment drone, like I said, does a 2 straight off the rock, barrel rolls to the left and links it into a target lock. DFS 081 does a 5 straight and target locks, and all of the locks go on to Oicon because he's right there. Why not?
So Vader does a 5 straight again. I actually burn an afterburner's charge here. Boost to the right towards the rock because it gets me into range of that top objective that you've left. Because I need to grab every point off objectives while I can.
Yeah.
Also, I think I've got a reasonable... I can straight move the next turn without clipping the rock. Go after Brown if I want. And I'm not really getting shot. And I reach for a target lock and inexplicably get the bombardment drone just at range 3.
Yeah, just at range 3. Tracking that a bit, DBS 404 did a 2-bank and target locked Oicon. And so my reasoning for leaving that objective behind was because I knew DFS was going to be there to grab it, and I thought at this point I just needed to make sure I could take as many of my guns engaging as possible, and having with my plan B 3 to 4 ships just not in the fight wasn't acceptable because I knew 2 of my separate drones needed to gun down the side and then turn in.
Yeah.
DFS isn't going to be doing anything for at least 2 turns, and Gus is going to be out of range. So I was like, actually, I need to get as many guns up here as possible. My plasma is probably going to be in range and hitting, so let's just start the shooting. And if he only has 1 shot back, and I have like 2 to 3, then this is a good starting trade.
Yeah, that's fair. So we check range, and nothing from Vader and nothing from Morna, so it's straight to DBS.
DBS 404 fires a plasma torpedo at Captain Oicon.
We check I
am entirely in the rear, just.
And it is obstructed, so I get a dice.
So I roll hit, focus, blank. I spend the target lock on the blank into a hit and spend a calculate for 3 hits.
I roll a blank. So
reinforce knocks off 1, so you take 3 shields.
I take the 3 shields. Not the ideal start. So it then goes to Oikon, who takes the range 2 shot into the bombardment drone. I roll hit focus, and I fifth brother for a crit.
I roll blank focus, spend a calculate for an evade, and take hit crit. The crit is a console fire, so oop. DGS engages, nicks a calculate from no one. I think no one calculated, I believe.
Yep.
Actually, no, I nicked a calculate from blue just to
Okay.
make sure I'd have more, I think.
Yep.
Because that got, yeah, that's why. It got more calculates closer to the guys who were shooting, because I wasn't sure if blue was range 1 of pink, and I thought pink might have a shot.
The bombardment drone engages, rolls a crit on his
range
console
2.
fire, so
Which means no damage.
no damage, and takes a range 2.
Into Oiken, here we go. I roll blank focus, target lock into hit focus, spend a calculate for 2 hits.
Did you? I thought you just re-rolled straight into 2 hits.
Did I just roll straight into hits? I might have just re-rolled straight into hits. The video was moving fast. I just assumed I'd flicked it.
Fair.
Then the last separatist drone takes a range 3 obstructed shot. I roll hit blank, spend the target lock on the blank. I think it just turns into another hit.
At which point it doesn't matter what I roll because reinforce means I'm taking 1 anyway.
Yeah. It looks like it wasn't obstructed, just range 3.
So Oikon's down to 10, which 6 damage, not ideal, but it's not crippling either. We do objectives, and it is 3-2 in my favour.
Yeah. So the fun thing for me here is like I actually came into this thinking because I'm taking probe droids, I'm gonna try and take a turn out of trying to claim as many objectives as possible, because my thought was if I can just get the target locks, the turns where I get shooting are just gonna be that much more deadly. So I will let Sean get some objectives. Because normally I'd have been like, race to contest the middle because I need 2 things there to do that. Then we have 1 guy at the back, 1 guy at the right, and let's get shooting. But this time I was like, actually, as long as I keep up and get the target locks, I should be able to, in theory, race the decimators down.
Yeah.
In theory.
So end phase, Morna does spend a charge to flip her reinforce to the front.
Yeah. I only have 1 calculate to keep, and that is DGS's. And then, yeah, it's time to start fighting, pretty much.
Yeah. This is where we're going to melee. But I'm kind of alright with this because as I'm looking at it, we're going to go in with realistically 2 of your Discord missile guys probably not in range to Discord.
Yeah, so this is where I think probably I don't know how much of a mistake this is that I have 2 vultures on the far right and I have absolutely no intention of bringing one of them in because he's just going to circle around the objective and score a point a turn. So maybe I didn't need to commit the second one, but I just wanted to make sure I got out of the way of the gunship and got past the rock.
That's fair.
In hindsight, I probably should have barrel rolled in.
Yeah, to bring you that closer, yeah.
So I send out the second probe droid and I throw it towards Vader. Just that way, my probe droids are covering like 90% of the map at this point.
Yep.
And I'd also drop a seismic charge from the bombardment drone because I'm calling that Oiken's coming in.
Yeah, I mean, I realistically...
And possibly Vader. I wasn't sure where Vader was going to end up, but I figured this might dissuade you a little bit.
I realistically thought you were likely to do that, but I'll just accept the 1 damage. And I do a... I think that's a 2 hard in the end.
Yeah, that looks like a 2 hard. By the way, Sean is first player.
Oh, yeah. 2 hard with Oikon. And then I go for the play that I need to do to start doing damage. And I coordinate a barrel roll to Vader. And he barrel rolls to the left.
And at that point, I'm like, okay, interesting. So I start moving. I do a 2 hard on my bombardment drone. I barrel roll to the left and link it to a target lock on Oiken because right now I've landed on the objective and I think I've got a shot into Oiken and I'm out of the way of where DBS is going to go. The separatist drone on the rock does a 2 straight and calculates. The other 2 separatist drones, one of them does a 3 hard to get into the center and calculates. The other does a 1 hard and calculates. DFS 081 does a 3 hard, lands on the rock in my top right corner and calculates. And Gus does a 2 bank straight over the rock in front of them. And I believe takes 1 damage after the dice roll.
Just takes the 1.
And calculates.
Morna does a 1 bank.
Sitting on 2.
So I'm like, I'm very forced to the front already. I think realistically, I mean, I'm only taking... Well, I mean, I could be taking 4 shots, but, well, 3, because I don't think 404's in range. But
404 hasn't moved yet.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. So realistically, I may take 4, but I think you're likely to focus on Oikon, so I don't see the point in double reinforcing. So I take a target lock onto the bombardment drone in front of me.
It makes sense. And also, you need to start killing stuff. Like, it just is what it is. So I do a 2 bank with DBS 404. I'm at range 1 of Oikon, and I briefly consider barrel rolling to try and get out of arc and target locking. But I think I just take a target lock onto Oikon and just say, look, we're range 1. I'm DBS 404. I'll self-crit, but at least I probably won't take damage from my own bomb.
Yeah. And then Vader, 3 hards, round the rock. And I say round the rock, it's pixels alongside the rock. Like, it was so hard to judge, like, with the barrel roll in, and I thought I'd come round further, but the barrel roll had taken me further away. But I'm like, no, okay, it's fine. I've got to lock onto the bombardment drone, but I'm kind of like, that might not be in range. I could take the focus. I don't really want to burn another afterburners. So in the end, I just moved the lock onto 404, I believe. Yeah.
And it makes sense, because at that point, you might have just been out of range 1 of the rock. Unfortunately, you're not. So Vader, DBS 404, haha, silly me, and Oikon all take 1 damage. So in my head, DBS 404, I'm thinking, he's probably dead this round.
Yeah, because he's gonna...
I think Vader takes a shot. I think I'm likely to survive a Vader shot. I then shoot, crit myself, and if I haven't taken too much damage, I don't die, but Oikon is right there.
Yeah. So I check for 000, no such joy. So it is the Vader shot. I roll hit. I think I rolled 3 hits, actually. I change 1 to a crit with the advanced targeting computer. Then you remind me that I'm in the bullseye, so we change another 1.
And I rolled triple evade, so woo!
Yeah, all right. DBS isn't dying this round, then.
DBS isn't dying this round.
I was slightly concerned that Oikon does, but
I think Oikon's fine. He's taking at this point. I was thinking he's taking 3 shots, and that's maybe enough to do it, but it'd be close.
So we go to Morna, who does have that range 2 into the bombardment drone. And I roll 2 hits and a blank. I spend the target lock to roll it into 3 hits.
I roll 2 greens. I get 1 evade, so the bombardment drone is down to 1.
Down to 1.
Taking 2 damage with a console fire. So I'll get to shoot, but not liking the odds. And then DBS 404 does what he does best. Takes a range 1 shot into someone with no agility. Rolls 2 hits, a focus, and a blank. I have no calculate that I think I can reach, so target lock on focus blank. Into 2 more hits, so 4 straight hits. Then I crit myself, and it's a structural damage.
Which actually, for me, is kind of... Alright, I've taken 4 hits on Oikon, but you're going to lose a decimator. The fact you've taken a structural and have 3 left means it should be reasonably easy for me to punch some damage through. Especially as Oikon can now take a range 1 shot into him.
Yeah.
And I do. I roll 3 hits on a blank.
I roll a focus result. I check for range 1, and I believe I've got the Separatist drone.
You do have pink. So DBS lives on 1.
I take 2. Lives on 1. I roll the console fire for the bombardment drone. Now we're going to my IF3. I don't take a damage, so I'm not dead this round. And I take a range 2 shot into Morna.
So both of those living on 1 and that console fire not proccing off is basically the 7 points that would have covered a decimator loss.
Yes, pretty much. However, the bombardment drone does not have range into Oikon, so I have to take the shot into Morna, range 2. So Oikon likely does get to live this round. I roll a single hit, and yeah, I get a hit through on Morna. Woo! Gus engages, and he checks to see if he can steal any calculates, but there's no one around. I fire a plasma into Oikon, I know he has no shields. I just want the third dice.
Yeah, it
I
makes
check how many
sense.
locks I get. I've got hit, focus, blank. I've got many calculates. I re-roll the blank into a crit and spend a calculate for hit, hit, crit.
And that crit is a panicked pilot, so triple stressed and 2 health left.
I have no more shots into Oiken, so my pink separatist drone takes a range 3 shot into Morna. I roll hit, crit out of hand.
And again, doesn't really matter what I roll with the reinforce. It's 1 through on the shield.
And then no other shots.
I was a little sad that Morna wasn't quite as far forward as I hoped she'd be for that centre objective.
Yeah, because I have 3 ships next to the centre objective, and you only have 1 big ship.
Yep.
Which means I have 3 points and you have 2,
Yep.
because Morna is still in range of that back one, so 5-5.
5-5. End phase, I spend a charge to flip the reinforce from front to rear. Because although I haven't made up my mind, I'm likely doing one of 2 things: gunning 4 forwards or turning left. And I'll present a bump and carry on shooting.
Yeah.
And yeah.
You know what's funny is even though you did that, I really didn't see your next move coming at all.
Fair enough.
I don't know why. I just didn't real. I just completely didn't think it was a thing you could do. Like nowhere in my mind did I think it was coming, but we'll get to that in a second. So Kraken means that Gus, DFS 081, and one of the separatist drones in the bottom right keep a calculate. And we move on. I win priority this time.
Yeah.
Which actually is a little annoying.
Yeah, I'm quite happy with that actually this turn. So.
But system phase, I shimmy some of the pro droids around just to get them out of the way, and then my 3 stop moving. So the bombardment drone does a 2 straight and doesn't clear the stress because of the Death Troopers. My pink separatist drone does a that looks like a 2 hard onto the sensor rock. My blue separatist drone, who did a 3 hard last turn, does a 5 straight heading towards Morna, because my secret plan is that Morna's done a 1 straight and the bombardment drone has just bumped her, and therefore I can line up some shots. Gus does a 1 straight and flips the wings, and then I believe calculates. And DFS 081 rotates 90 degrees to the left, facing where Vader is, and takes a calculate.
Yeah. So Oiken does a 3 hard to the right, I believe. I knew it was going to bump. That's fine, because he doesn't really care about bumps. I was just trying to swing round as much as possible. I mean, realistically, he probably dies this round. He's got 2 health, but we'll just, if I can avoid basically DBS, then you can't initiative kill me. So
yeah, that's fair. One thing I did forget: the other separatist drone on the far right, he just did a 1 hard. He's literally he spent the entire game circling around the far right objective for the moment. So he's in a 1 hard and calculated, and he's just scoring me a point every round.
Yeah.
So then DBS does a 1 hard to the left, heading towards the center, and then I believe I barrel roll and link it into a target lock onto Morna. Because again, in my head, I'm banking my entire plan strategy is on Morna that does like a 1 or 2 straight and bumps into my ships or whatever, or just basically trying to force a bump.
And barrel rolls.
Yeah, barrel roll, target lock Morna.
And I was a little nervous about that barrel roll, I have to admit. But I do a 2 hard to the left, which just clears.
Yeah, and I was like, bugger, my plan.
Wow. Crap. So I've got a reinforce to the rear. So I take a target lock, I believe, and I lock the bombardment drone, because the bombardment drone can shoot me.
Yeah.
So if I can initiative kill him, then he can't. And then I'm hoping that Oiken can finish off 404 or Vader. So
yeah, that makes sense.
And then Vader just does a 1 straight, takes a focus. And so we go to start of engagement.
I just realised DGS did not calculate this round, did he? He target locked Vader.
He did target lock Vader.
Yes, he target locked Vader, because that's important for it in a second.
Yes, it is. Spoilers.
Yeah.
So start of engagement, we launch some discords.
And I land one on Morna, and I put it on her front in the hopes that, for whatever reason, Sean decides to shoot it instead of my 1 health ships.
So I check range for 000, and I ask
And I
Sam
say,
whether the bombardment drone would like to take a stress or give me a calculate.
stress all the way.
So because he's done that, that then triggers Seventh Sister. And for anyone who doesn't know, Seventh Sister's ability is when a ship at range 0 to 1 would gain a stress token, you may spend 1 force. If you do, that ship gains a tractor or jam token instead. So I gave him a tractor.
That's fair. You don't move me.
Yeah, don't move you. Down one agility. Just want to make sure that he dies. It's now like 4 on 1. Admittedly, I'm modded, but yeah. And Vader goes into 404. Range 2.
Yes.
Rolls hit crit out of hand, so he's dead regardless.
He's dead. I roll an evade though.
And take 2 crits because of advanced targeting computer.
So bam, DBS 404 is dead. But I will say I'm quite happy with what he did.
Yeah.
He put what, 7 damage onto a decimator? That's fine.
Then, because he's dead, we jump straight to Morna, who goes into the bombardment drone. I roll 1 hit and 3 blanks. All right, I spend the target lock because I was modded from the last turn, which roll into a focus, a blank, and a crit. So I've just got what I needed, regardless of the dice.
I roll an evade.
You do roll the evade, take the crit. Die.
Hit the crit, the bombardment drone is gone.
So that's kind of like, that's the, I suppose for me, that's the 7 points that equal the fact that Oikon's probably likely to die this round. But if they'd taken that 1 extra damage last turn, I could be shooting someone else.
Yeah.
And B, it's a bigger loss for me. Because, you've still got 5 ships to what will be my 2.
Yes. So we go over to me. So I start with the easy shot. A separate drone has a shot into Morna, and I roll 2 hits out of hand.
So again, with the reinforce, that's 1 through.
DFS 081 goes range 1 into Oikon. I roll 2 hits and a focus, spend a calculate for 3 hits, and
that's Oikon dead.
Oikon is dead. He's still going to get a shot. I can't stop that, but. Then you kindly say, actually, you didn't need that. You can have your calculate back. So 2 hits go through.
Yeah, because you only need 2. Like, I can't mod. I have no reinforce, so it's like you don't need it. And then you plasma Vader.
Yeah, Gus engages, nicks a calculate from no one actually because separate drone pink. I think, and I plasma into Vader. I get hit, crit, blank. 1 reroll on the blank to change it into a focus. Spend a calculate for hit, crit.
And I roll 1 evade and 2 blanks. Bad Vader.
So 3 shields down on Vader.
No, because Vader has already lost a shield from the
right, that's true.
The seismic. Obviously, Vader doesn't show up on the overlay at the moment because he's battling Yavin.
So 2 shields and a damage.
So 2 shields
Vader.
and a damage. Luckily, we cancel the crit first.
Yeah,
I've got to focus. I've got the force. Roll some paint, man.
Yeah, I love plasmas because of they're really powerful, but because you cancel crits first, it's like fair. Almost.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe people who eat plasmas for a living don't say it's fair, but either way. So anyway, then the separate drone on the rock, I believe, takes a range 2 shot into Morno because I'm just trying to plink off those shields before the Discord hits,
which you've done.
I think I roll hit.
So again, reinforce. I take 1. And then Oikon takes the range 0 that's not a range 0, so a range 1 shot into DGS. I roll 2 blanks, 1 hit, 1 focus. I 5th brother for a crit.
I roll a focus, which means I take 2 shields, so DGS is down the shields.
I then take a crit, which was a wounded pilot.
And I check for Kraken, and all 3 of the Vulture droids who have calculates get to keep them, which is DFS, the far right separatist drone, and the bottom separatist drone, the guy who's not on a rock, basically.
So at this stage, it's 12-12.
And at this stage, I realise I've messed up with Gus because my wings are flipped, and Vader is not where I thought he would be.
But before we get to that, we do objectives.
We do objectives.
And it's a 3-1 for you, so 13-15.
Yes. So, and the reason I've screwed up with Gus is that he's in side split mode, and which means I can't turn normally, and I really want to turn normally.
So we go to the next turn, and it's you again. But system phase, I drop a proton bomb.
Yes.
Because either I think the only way Pink avoids that is a 2 straight barrel roll to the right.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I've just realised. Why has Gus got a stress? But I think I know why. Actually, I'm a turn ahead in my narration. I haven't screwed up yet. I'm about to screw up.
All right.
Yeah. So
yeah,
the proton bomb is dropped. Gus does a stop, and flips the wing and goes into side slip mode. The separatist drone on the rock stays where he is and calculates. The guy at the very bottom does a 1 hard, barrels to the right and calculates, trying to dodge that proton bomb. DFS stays where he is and calculates, and the drone on the far right does a 1 hard to the left, facing in towards the board and calculates. And the reason that Gus is screwed up, and I think part of the reason I didn't notice this is because my drone is on top of the mustache rock, and I must have just forgotten it was there. So Gus's side slip basically can't go. He can't really travel to the left. He can only go right, and unless Vader, for whatever reason, turns into his own proton bomb, side slipping right will not be getting me a whole lot next turn.
Yeah. So Morna 1 straights.
Buzz droid goes in the front.
Buzz droid goes on the front. I take a target lock onto Pink, and actually I think this is a mistake. What I should have done here was I say target lock in the buzz droids don't make a difference, does it? Because it's range 0. So I wouldn't be able to molt anyway. So maybe not a mistake. But I probably should have shot them. I roll for the wounded pilot, and I don't take a stress. And then Vader 3 hard to the left. Because I wasn't... I knew where Pink had to go. Or stay where it is. Blue... I wasn't expecting the barrel roll, admittedly, but even with that, it's a long-range shot. And I was just trying to get out of arcs.
Yeah.
And I have a choice here, actually, and I know how this goes, but statistically, I'm not sure what the... I don't really need, I say defensive mods, because I've got the Force, so I don't really need a focus. I can target lock the brown droid that's in front of me. It's range 1. It's probably obstructed. Or I can barrel roll to the right and try and get out of more arcs. Because
I'm not so sure on the barrel roll to the right, because I think that puts you in potential Discord range.
And see, I did and I because I'm pretty sure I'm already range 1 of the frisbee, so
yeah,
getting closer doesn't really make a difference. But it would have got me out of Brown's arc. Maybe it puts me in Discord.
I think that will be a close one.
And I wasn't sure if Pink had me as well, so it would have got me out of Pink's arc.
Yeah, that's fair.
But in the end, I opt for violence, and I take a target lock onto DFS.
And I think violence is fine because, odds are, now it's just a bunch of 2 dice shots with minimal mods. The vultures who have shots, it's range 3 and they've just got calculates. DGS will have a calculate and has a 1 reroll, so he's the most modded. But again, it's not the most amount of dice, and you're likely to kill DFS. Let's be real here.
Yeah.
So Vader has decent odds at surviving. I feel like maybe the only other option is you afterburner's boost here. Just to get distance.
Straight, yeah, maybe that's the...
Because that would unobstruct the shot. Maybe gets you out of range of 2 more of my vultures. Definitely gets you out of arc of 1.
I was just slightly concerned that you go that millimeter too far and the arc hangs over the edge.
I mean, yeah, that would ultimately suck, but
yeah. So the bomb goes off.
Either way,
and it hits
bomb goes
Pink.
off, hits Pink on the rock. He takes a crit.
Panic pilot.
It is a panic pilot. So you know what? He's not doing any actions for a while. That's fine.
And Vader shoots range 1 obstructed. Rolls hit, focus, blank. Burns 2 force and the advanced targeting computer for 3 hits and a crit.
I roll 3 blanks.
Goodbye, DFS. So Morna goes into pink. Rolls 2 hits. Hit crit and a focus. Spends a force.
I think you fifth brother the crit in. I think it's 2 hits and a focus.
It's not fifth brother on that one.
Oh, is it a fifth brother?
No.
Oh, of course, yeah, it's seventh sister here.
So yeah, I mean, obviously went for him because he's got 2 health left. But with the fact that you've got to calculate and Blue's there with a calculate, maybe shooting the Discord might have been the better option.
Maybe, but at the same time, like, the Discord's not... The 11 turns are not going to happen this game, so the Discord can't kill you.
Yeah.
It can make it easier for me to kill you, but I'm not really in a position to do that. So I think going for the kill is worth it here. Because if you kill the drone, you kill the drone. And a 3-dice gun can kill a drone. Like...
Yeah. But you roll 3 evades.
But I roll 3 evades, so you know it doesn't matter in the end. But like my point is, I don't think shooting the Separatist drone is like inherently wrong.
Yeah.
Because we're so close to the end. If you kill the Separatist drone and score 2 points, like suddenly you're on 19.
Yeah. So over to your shooting.
So Gus takes a calculate from pink. I check the plasma arc optimistically. Turns out Vader's not in it. What a surprise. I roll focus, crit into Vader, and I believe I re-roll one of them and spend a calculate on the other. I can't remember what I end up with.
I am curious why you spent check the plasma, because it wouldn't have made a difference. A, it's range 1.
It's cos.
And B, honestly, it would have been the same dice.
Yeah, at that point it was just cos. So yeah, I real one into a hit and spend the calculate for hit crit. Vader rolls 3 evades.
Well, I roll 2 focuses and an evade, so I have to burn both my force. No, sorry, 2 evades and 1 focus, and I had to burn my last force to do that.
Range 3 from a Vulture droid, hit crit. Vader gets 2 evades. Pink takes a range 3 into Morna. I roll focus blank. I believe I steal a calculate for 1. You evade it though.
Yep.
And then range 3 into Vader again with the last Vulture. I roll hit focus, spend a calculate for 2 hits, and you roll 1 evade, focus.
Yeah, no force left, so I do take that damage, which leaves Vader on 1.
Vader on 1.
I gain a force back because of hate. I then gain a force back because of the end phase. We check, and I'm just out of that top one, which is a little a shame. So objectives put us at 17-16 in your favour.
Because I get 2 and you get a 1 with Morna.
Yeah.
And this is where I realise, oh god, Gus can't go anywhere.
Yeah, but I mean, at this point, all you've got to do is just go and try and score 3 objectives.
Yes and no. See, the funny thing is, I actually want to ask you when we get to it later what you thought I was going to do, because we'll get to it. Because I was looking at this and thinking, actually, it's not quite that simple.
All right. So I take a crit from the probe droid, and it's a console fire.
And anyone who's watching the YouTube gets a sneaky peek of what Vader's about to do.
Which is a mistake, so we'll get to that.
Yeah. So, I think Sean wins priority. It doesn't matter. I move the probe droids just out of the way to get to, so we don't have to roll any unnecessary dice. And the blue separatist drone does a 3 straight directly over the rock. I take 1 damage and I don't roll for another one, so I've got 2 health left.
I do actually think that's a little bit critical as well, not taking the 2nd damage there.
Yeah,
I know.
And I believe I want to say I barrel roll calculate, but maybe
you do.
Wrong. Yeah, I barrel roll, link it to a calculate. Pink just stays on the rock and clears the stress. Gus tries to 3 hard side slip to the left, trying to clear Pink and the rock and just aim the arc vaguely at Vader. But I bump into Pink and I don't take damage from him. That is acceptable. And then my other separatist drone does a 2 hard down towards where I think Vader's going to be and takes a calculate. Because I am basically abandoning the objective points at this point because I'm thinking if I can just get 1 damage onto Vader, I don't need to worry about this game.
Yeah. Morna hard turns around the rock, reaches for a lock, but no one's in range. And then Vader 4Ks.
Yeah. And at this point, I'm like, I've got this.
Yeah. Because there's nothing I can do to get out of a Discord range.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, we don't bother going through because it doesn't matter what Vader does. Vader dies, and I can't get the 6 points to equal it.
So with that in mind, now that I've realised what's happened, I will say I don't think the second damage on that Separatist drone was as critical as it was that critical, because I was like, in my head, I know I will live, and I'm banking on you being in Discord range, so his life doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And because my thought process here was, yes, I can definitely score 2 points, but if I let this go another turn, you will also likely score 2 points, and if you kill a vulture, you win.
Yeah. So anyone watching on the YouTube, Sam and I are just literally going through the where could I have gone? Would an Afterburners boost got me out of it? We have a look at a bank to the right. In hindsight, and one thing we didn't actually look at, because even doing that bank to the right there and then a boost round gets me out of Discord, but you could still shoot me. What I should have done was I should have 3-harded to the left. I should have 3-harded to the left, if needs be, Afterburner boost up towards Morna, so that you're forced to come towards my big ass decimator.
Yeah.
But I was so focused on being behind on the objectives, and I thought you would go for the objectives.
Yes. So this is where I think like the most critical thing I did in this entire game is I thought that you would think I would sit on the objectives. And that would mean you could get 1v1s with Vader. So I was like, I can't sit on that far right objective. The droid has to come in, present another target, get another Discord to go out and land on Vader. Because if I had just sat him on the objective, Gus bumps, the droid in the center stays there. My separatist droid in the middle, I guess, could have done something, but isn't going to be able to score me the 3rd point that I need to win. So if Vader and Morna are still around.
So interestingly, what I thought was going to happen was Pink stays on the rock like he has, DGS bumps like he has. I thought you carry on circling with green.
Yeah.
And I thought you hard turn blue towards green. Yes, you don't score the 3 you need this turn, but you score the 2, and then you only need to score 1. So if you can score 2... Like, I'm only scoring 1 at this point, so that puts me 17-19 behind. Even killing 1 droid then doesn't get me enough.
Yeah, but with your 4K, after I have already moved, I think you would have scored that. You would have scored 2.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
So you'd have been you'd be 18-19, and then Morna can then turn in and start shooting, and then I need to kill someone because if Vader will kill a vulture.
If Morna turns in there, it's at most a range 3 shot.
Yeah. But I have two health vultures and
well, that's why I thought. That's why I thought if you turn blue away, it wouldn't be a 2 health; it'd be a 3 health.
Yeah. Well, I don't think there's any way I don't go for that mustache rock.
And I cut and like if you were down there in a cluster, I'd have to be really careful about yeeting Vader in, because even if I kill one, if I then take 3 shots on that 1 damage.
Yeah, that is true. But yeah, so my thought process was I don't want to risk this going another turn.
Yeah.
And I think Sean will think I think Sean will think I won't be going for him.
Yeah. So yeah, in hindsight, I should have like gone, okay, that's what I think Sam's gonna do, but I can't. Like the 4K wouldn't have netted me any points. Well, maybe 1 point, but not anything crucial. If I disengage towards Morna, then yeah, you've got to come, or the decimator sweeps in, and yeah, Vader probably just disappears at that point.
Yeah, I think what you did is right. If I just play for the objectives, because that's the quickest way to get Vader back in. But because at least for me, being on 1918 isn't a safe place for me when I have people who very easily die to Vader and Morna.
Yeah, like I think. What I should have looked at is not the Vader needs to score points, it's the Vader needs to deny you the 6 points.
Yeah.
Like, if he denies you 6 points, but you score 1 objective extra, then I'm 5 points up.
Yeah.
So, But hey, it was interesting.
That was a good game. And at least for me, I was like, he's going to think I'm staying on that objective, time to yeet him.
Yeah. I mean, it completely caught me off, so
Yeah.
kudos.
Because I was like, I thought you would 4K or 3 Talon. And I was like, then he can either afterburners, but that's it. He should be in a Discord. So he should be in some combination of Discords.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think with a red maneuver there was any way out of a Discord there. But hey,
like maybe a boost to the right, but then you are just literally saying, "Hey Sam, shoot me."
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that is interesting.
So in the end, with the Vader kill and the 1 point I score, we effectively go what 24-17.
Yeah.
In the end.
25. So yeah, 24-17. Sorry. So yeah. So flying this has been interesting, and actually I've really enjoyed flying decimators. But I have to admit there are a couple of pilots in the Hot Shots pack that are interesting me, especially now the points have dropped. So
yes, I have many interests.
So yeah, much as I wanted to take Imperials to a tournament because I've got one coming up on the 10th. I don't know, maybe not. We'll see. But if you join us next week, we may or may not be doing a review of the Battle of Yavin scenario.
Yeah, so that we'll see. You know what? Let's not make any promises because if the new stuff is super cool, then we might just want to do that.
Oh, it's not just that. If Battle of Yavin Vader doesn't turn up on the overlay, if nothing turns up on the overlay, then that might be a bit awkward.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll have to have a shifty around with that one. But if not, you'll either get Battle of Yavin or some of the new stuff. So
yeah, I've got plans within plans. But on reviewing this, I actually like this plasma list.
It's good.
I like it quite a lot.
It's going to do well against a lot of things because the majority of things have shields. And if they don't, then you're just punching damage straight through, so...
Yeah. It's nice to put a gunship on the table and not feel like it's completely dead weight.
No, I think you can slot one in there.
Yeah.
It's just gone are the days where you could do 4.
Yeah. Gone are the days where 4 feel good to use. Which is, I guess, is fine.
Right, well...
I still like my Frisbee list.
On Sam's reminiscence for the good old days, as he would put it, and the, oh god, not that list again for the rest of us. We will call it there this week. Thanks.
I mean, who cares? Volan Darson's in the Tri-Fighter and he looks great fun.
He does. Yes, he does. Right, we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah. Ta-ta!
Bye.